What did we just witness? A battle for the AFC East. Guess what, Bills Mafia, Patriots fans? It starts right now here on Bills Postgame. Allen versus a round two. Let's get it on. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports. From the fans' perspective, here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun. Baby, welcome in, Bills Mafia. Welcome in, Patriot fans. Welcome to Bills Postgame. My name is Scott McGregor, your host of the program. What did we just witness? Bills and the Patriots. What did we just witness? I can't even tell you how many times on this recording I'm going to say, what did we just witness? The New England Patriots, since beating Buffalo in Buffalo's first meeting between the two squads, had won 10 games in a row. Yep, you heard me. 10 games in a row. They the Saints 25-19. They beat the Titans 31-13. The Browns 32-13. The Falcons, 24-23. The Buccaneers 28-23. The New York Jets 20-14. The Cincinnati Bengals 20-20. And right before their bye, they beat the New York Football Giants 30-15, putting them in position this week to win the AFC East. Not so fast. After beating Buffalo in week 5, 23-20, and knocking off the 10-game winning streak that they did have, starting with Buffalo. Well, actually, it started with the Carolina Panthers. They beat the Panthers 40-13. They then beat Buffalo 23-20. They had won 10 games going into their bye, and we battle Buffalo and New England this week, coming out of New England's bye week. 10 weeks ago, Buffalo lost 2020. 10 weeks later, they come all the way back from down 21 to beat the New England Patriots 35-31, your final today. How did Buffalo get to where they were coming into this game at 9-4? Of course, New England 11-2, fresh off of their bye, which was last week, week 14. Well, how did Buffalo get to 9-4? Let's go over that, shall we? And we'll do this before we meet the inactives and our coaches. So, before the bye week, the Buffalo Bills, 10 weeks ago, lost 23-22. I had that right. They lost 23-20. I meant to say 23-20, not 23-22. But 10 weeks ago, they lost by that margin, 23-20 to the New England Patriots. The week after that, before their bye in week 7, they lost 24-14. At that point in the season, the Buffalo Bills were 4-2 going into their bye. Coming out of their bye, they pick up victories against the Carolina Panthers, a huge victory, by the way, 40-9. The final score there. That made them 5-2 coming out of their bye. They sweat to beat the Kansas City Chiefs 28-21, the final there. That made them 6-2. They go to 6-3 after falling 30-13 to the Miami Dolphins in week 10. Bounce back with a victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 4-32. That one at home, which would make them 7-3. To 7-4 they go after losing 23-19 to the Houston Texans. Just 2 weeks ago, they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 26-7 to improve to 8-4. Yes, the Texans' loss was their 4th loss of the season. At that point, they were 7-4. Now they're 8-4 after beating the Steelers 27. Last week, they improved to 9-4. At that time, the New England Patriots were on a bye week and already at a record of 11-2. So, with a victory over the Bengals last week, the Bills improved to 9-4 with a 39-34 come from behind victory. And of course, Josh Allen with some great work in the touchdown area. Today, not so much, but the team rallies back from down 21 points. And not only that, they are now 10-4, one game back of the New England Patriots as they hand the Patriots' first loss of the season since the Pats lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers back in week number 3, 12 weeks ago to be exact. At that time, they lost to the Raiders 20-13 and defeated the Miami Dolphins 30-27 in Miami. All right, let's take a look at our inactives. For the Buffalo Bills, they are without wide receiver Joshua Palmer, linebacker Terrell Bernard, safety Darnell Savage. Inactive for the Bills in this game, they were without cornerback Christian Benford, linebacker Terrell Bernard, wide receiver Gabriel Davis, safety Darnell Savage, offensive tackle Tylen Grable, defensive tackle P. Matthias, and offensive tackle Chase Lundat. Offensive tackle Marcus Bryant was out as well. Defensive tackle Eric Gregory, tight end CJ Dipriere, wide receiver Efton Chisholm out as well, and emergency third quarterback Tommy DeVito out as well. The head coaches are Mike Vrabel for the New England Patriots, and for the Buffalo Bills, you know him, you love him. Well, debatable, depends on who I speak with. It's Sean McDermott. Quarterbacks, Drake May and Josh Allen. The last time these two squared off was 10 weeks ago in Buffalo, at which time Buffalo was on the losing end of a 3-point game. New England won that matchup in Buffalo 2020. This time we're in Foxborough, and our final score goes in favor of the Buffalo Bills 31. How did it happen? Well, now that we got the coaches and inactives out of the way, let's get right to the first half highlights. Coming up courtesy of CBS Sports website. Here we go. Let's go on over to our scoring. Here we go. We start with the fourth quarter. Got to go to the opening quarter. There we go. In the first quarter of play, Drake May does it himself. He goes to the left for 8 yards and a touchdown. Buffalo down 7-0. As the extra point by Andres Borregales. Extra point up and good by Andres B. 7-0 Patriots. Next play to be scored, Drake May doing it again. This time a scramble. 7 yards up the middle. Touchdown Patriots. Extra point by AB, Andres B. Up and good. It is 14-0. New England. I'm going to make sure I mention New England instead of Pittsburgh. But a reminder to Penguin fans tuning into Penguins post game, also tuning into Bills post game here. We will have the Penguins, I should say, and the Mammoth coming up when that game goes final. You could get it, as well as this show, you could get it on Monday, since we are recording this on a Sunday, but you probably could get Bills post game on a Monday. Let me be the first to wish everybody, especially our Bills fans out there, happy Victory Monday to you, Bills Mafia. All right, after a quarter of play, it is New England on top. For quarter number 2, Trayvon Henderson, he had quite the game. 52 yards, touchdown, New England. Extra point by Andres B. Up and good. New England goes ahead by 21. But after that, Josh Allen to James Cook, 5-yard touchdown. Nice pass from Josh to Cook. Extra point by Matt Prater. Up and good, 21-7. New England. Here comes Buffalo. Buffalo was down 21-0, but at that point, it became a 14. That is, of course, until AB Andres Borregales There we go. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get it right as I go. Andres B hit a 36-yard field goal to put New England back on top, even though they are on top. They would go on top by 17 with the 36-yard field goal good from Andres B. At the half, New England on top by 17 points. Gonna take a timeout. When we come back, second half highlights. Just how did the Bills manage to pull off a stunner in Foxborough? The third quarter and fourth quarter, plus game totals, the out-of-town scoreboard for Week 15 in the NFL, coming up after this quick break. And of course, we want to let you know that we're monitoring Penguins and Mammoth. We'll get you a look at where the score is currently in that showdown between the Penguins and the Mammoth when we return. Plus, before the show is up, we'll visit the locker room of the Buffalo Bills for a victory speech. That coming up as we continue. Buffalo beats New England 35-31. How did they do it? You'll find out when we come back as we go into the second half highlights, out-of-town scoreboard, and of course, the game stats. Those are next when Bill's postgame continues. Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down, nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
Bills win 35-31. How did they even pull it off? Second half highlights coming up in just a few moments, but first let's go to our out-of-town scoreboard so far for Sunday. But we'll kick it off with action from Thursday. Well, if we could, that is. Oh, there we go. It's up there. Completed games. There we go. Completed games, I should say. So, how did this week kick off in the NFL? Well, it kicked off with a bang. Falcons beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 28 and finaled already here in our 1 p.m. slate games. First of all, I want to remind of the records for the Thursday night football game. The Falcons improved to 5-9. The Cardinals dropped to 3-11. They fell 40-20 to the Houston Texans. So that is the record that the Falcons will face coming out of their Thursday night football showdown. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers improved to 7-7. They fell 29-28 to the Atlanta Falcons. They will now face the current, because they're going on right now, the current 7-6 Panthers. That game going on right now, they're playing the New Orleans Saints. But from the other Sunday, December 14th action, Bears beat the Browns 33. The Baltimore Ravens go to town on the Cincinnati Bengals and beat the Bengals 24-0. 24-0. As I mentioned, the Cardinals fell 40-20 at the hands of the Texans. Jaguars and the Jets. Jaguars defeat the Jets 4-20. Chiefs, what happened? It is now official. With the Chiefs having to win this game, they fall 16-13 to the Los Angeles Chargers. And with that loss, they are now officially eliminated from playoff contention. Of course, there are some other factors in here. If teams that they needed to lose, perhaps they are still in it. But losing to the Chargers was job number one that they did not want to come up against. They lost 16-13. Well, the playoff chances are dwindling. Yes, they are. Of course, in our game, 35-31, another shutout is recorded on the day. And that went to Saquon Barkley and the Eagles going to town on the Las Vegas Raiders. 3-0, your final there. Yes, it is official. Per the news, it is official that the Chiefs, they needed to win against the Chargers to stay alive. But guess what? They fall 16-13, and their playoff chances are done. Hey, that's great news, Bills Mafia. That means we don't have to play them in the playoffs. But who are we going to end up playing should we make the playoffs? That remains to be seen. The Washington Commanders picking up a victory against the New York Giants. They win 29-21. And those are our finals so far. 2 shutouts to speak of. Ravens on top of the Bengals, 24-0. Eagles on top of the Raiders, 30-0. Ongoing right now, the Packers lead the Broncos 3-0 in the first quarter of play as we speak. Rams and Lions tied up at 7 as we speak. Saints down 7-0 in the first quarter of play. All tied up at 3 apiece between the Colts and the Seahawks. In the second quarter, the 49ers lead the Titans. And coming up later tonight, the Vikings host, or I should say they pay a visit to the 6-1 Cowboys. Vikings record going into this one, 5-8. Then tomorrow it's the 6-7 Dolphins against the 7-6 Steelers. Those are the games still to come tonight and in tomorrow night. All right, enough gab. Let's get to the ending of our game. When we last left, your score was 24-7 in favor of the Patriots. But in the second half, that quickly changed. Josh found Dawson Knox for a 4-yard touchdown. Extra point by Matt Prater. Up and good. 10-point game lead for New England. It's 24-14. Bills get a stop in the third quarter. They go down the field and score. This time it's James Cook. He went for 2 yards, was short of the goal line, but Buffalo said, hold on a minute. They wanted to challenge. After review, it was determined that James Cook, who went to the left guard of the area for 2 yards, was flying over the goal line. So it will be a 3-yard touchdown run for James Cook. Extra point by Matt Prater. Up and good. We got ourselves a football game. It's a 3-point game. Patriots lead 24-21 heading into the fourth quarter of play. A dramatic fourth quarter of play about to begin. In the fourth, Josh to Knox. Second touchdown of the game for Knox. This time it's a 14-yarder. Extra point by Matt Prater. In the books. It's up. It's good. And Buffalo has taken the lead. It's 28-24, but it would not last. Trayvon Henderson, second touchdown of the game. A 65-yard touchdown run for Trayvon Henderson. Extra point by Andreas B. is good. 31-28 Patriots lead. Patriots lead the Bills 31-28. James Cook. We mentioned the Bills challenged a play where he was short of the goal line, which would have been a 2-yard gain. It ended up being a 3-yard gain and a score. This time, Josh, hand off to Cook. He goes up the middle for an 11-yard touchdown. It's 34-31 Buffalo. Extra point by Matt Prater. Up and good. Bills win 35-31 as the Bills were able to stop New England in their tracks before winning the AFC East, which they ultimately could have done if they could knock off the Bills, and not only that, but sweep the series of meetings between the two squads. And with that said, that'll wrap up our highlights from quarters 1, 2, 3 to 4 and halves 1 to 2. Let's jump to game totals. Here I'll provide them via the app, the CBS Sports app. Download the app, download the NFL app as well to follow your favorite team all year long. For the box score in team, we start off with our time of possession. Buffalo held the ball for 35 minutes and 21 seconds. New England held the ball for 24 minutes and 39 seconds. Buffalo with 22 first downs. New England with 19 first downs. No automatic first down penalties for New England, but they had 13 rushing first downs and 6 passing first downs. 11 passing first downs for Buffalo. 2 automatic penalty first downs and 9 rushing first downs for the Buffalo Bills in this one. They were 8 of 14 on third down efficiency, perfect on fourth down efficiency, 1 for 1. Patriots, 5 of 10 conversions on third down, not too shabby for the Patriots. Patriots do go for it on fourth once in this game, on fourth down once in this game, and the Bills get the stop. So the Bills went 1 for 1 on fourth down. New England 0 for 1 on fourth down efficiency. Total yards. Well, New England kind of has the upper hand here. 385 yards total. Buffalo with 349 yards. Drake May passed for 155 yards. Josh Allen 193 yards, 67 plays for Buffalo, 55 plays for New England. New England averaging 7.5 yards per play, Buffalo 5.2 yards per play. As mentioned, Drake May throwing for 155 yards, Josh Allen throwing for 193 yards. Josh completed 19 of 28 completion attempts. Drake May completed 14 of 23 of his completion attempts, averaging 5.3 yards per pass for Drake May, 6 yards per pass for Josh Allen. Both quarterbacks were sacked. Josh was sacked twice, and he lost 12 yards. Buffalo able to get to Drake May on defense 3 times. Drake May loses 16 yards on the play, that every time he got sacked. Running the ball, the Bills rushed for 168 yards on 37 rushes, averaging 4.5 yards per rush. On the ground for New England, 246 yards rushing. They only rushed the ball 25 times and averaged 9.8 yards per rush. New England was perfect in goal-to-go efficiency. So was Buffalo. Buffalo 4 for 4. New England 2 for 2. In the red zone, Buffalo was 5 for 6. New England 2 for 3. 7 penalties to New England in this game, 65 yards as a result. 2 penalties to Buffalo, 15 yards as a result. Only 1 turnover. That was a turnover on downs, on fourth down. 2 fumbles recovered by New England, both of them on New England's side, so they don't lose a fumble. Buffalo, no turnovers, no fumbles lost. Tre'Davious White with the only interception of the game. That was the turnover. That was the only turnover by New England. 5 touchdowns in the game, 2 rushing, 3 passing for Josh Allen, 4 touchdowns for the New England Patriots, I should say. 4 touchdowns for the New England Patriots, both of them on the ground, so no passing touchdowns for Drake May in this one. No defense and special team touchdowns. Josh Allen threw for 3 touchdowns, and James Cook hit Pater twice on the ground, once by video review and once without review. Return yards, 102 for the New England Patriots, 176 for the Buffalo Bills. They had 1 punt yard return, which had 12 yards on the return. 2 opportunities for New England, 5 yards off of punt returns for them. They had 4 attempts, I should say, to return the kick on kickoff yards, 97 yards as a result for all 4 kickoff returns. Buffalo, 4 kickoff returns as well, but they finished with 164 return yards off of the kickoff. 1 interception thrown by Drake May. No yards for Buffalo on the play. No safeties and no interceptions thrown by Josh Allen. However, there looked like there would have been an interception, and Mike Vrabel was not happy with it not being called an interception. I'm surprised Mike Vrabel did not even challenge that. It was a defense pass interference, but I'm surprised the Patriots didn't challenge. To be honest, I am. All right, there you have it. Your stats for the game. Play of the game coming up in just moments. But first, as we go into our second time out of the show, let's take you to the action we are following that will come up after this game. The Pittsburgh Penguins have scored 3 times, goals off of Ben Kindle's stick, Brian Rust's stick, and Justin Brazeau's stick. Brazeau got it going. Brian Rust with the goal in the first period as well. Ben Kindle with the goal in the second period, and 3 goals have come off of Utah Mammoth sticks. The first from Nate Schmidt, next from Michael Carcone, and next from Sean Drizzy, Sean D. Sorry, Sean, if I pronounced your last name wrong. I apologize. Hey, speaking of Michael Carcone, PPG for UTA, and as we were talking about it, the Utah Mammoth have taken the lead on the power play. Earlier on, the Vancouver Canucks defeated the New Jersey Devils 2-1. The only goal scored by New Jersey would go to Luke Hughes. They fall to the Vancouver Canucks 2-1. Ongoing right now in the first period, no score between the Flyers and the Hurricanes. Game time at 6 p.m. Eastern. Also still to come, at 8 p.m. Eastern, the Buffalo Sabres battle the Seattle Kraken in Seattle, Washington. Puck drops at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Oilers 15-11-6. Canadiens 16-11-4. Now we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, yet still no word yet on a victory speech. This show is final. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, play of the game, game balls of the game. We're going to look at the playoff picture, plus who else has been eliminated from playoff contention. We mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs. So who else is eliminated? Have any more eliminations occurred in the NFC? Those stories coming up next on Bills Postgame. But first, the play of the game. And right out of the break, we'll take another look at the actions. The games from this week will be final whenever you hear this. We'll come back with the out-of-town scoreboard, continuing coverage of on-air games from week 15 of the NFL season, play of the game, game balls of the game, our player of the game segment, and of course, we can't forget about setting up next week. We're going to be setting up the road ahead following the game balls of the game, play of the game, and out-of-town scoreboard, which comes your way when Bills Postgame continues. More from the out-of-town scoreboard after this. Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
Hello? How are you, my friend? Why? What's the matter? Why feeling bored and lonely? Look at me. I am always happy. The only reason I can tell you, it's because I listen to CNT Radio. All the best shows you can think of. The Melting Pot, the Cosmopolitan Culture Club, and the Song Bank. There are also many more new shows to come. Please make sure to visit her website at http://sienna-wordpress.com/sienna-radio. Oh, now I can hear you more cheerful. CNT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Hey everyone, it's Scott McGregor here. Join me weekly right here on Sports for Beginners for weekly episodes, your weekly dive in around sports news surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays, Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Raptors, and more. We'll have guests on a week-to-week basis, and so much more. Lots of great conversations coming. Be sure to subscribe to our show so you never miss an episode. And with that, make sure to like our Facebook page, Sports for Beginners Podcast 87. Just type that into your browser, and you should be sure to find our Facebook page. We'll also provide bonus content. It's going to be a dull moment you'll never want to miss. Check out Sports for Beginners with me weekly for daily news around the sports league, surrounding my favorite sports teams and yours, and so much more. Until then, we'll see you at action time.
Hi, Scott. It's Ali here. I just wanted to mention that I'm really enjoying the show, and I'm really enjoying what you're putting together. And I wanted to just say I'm enjoying being a part of it as well. So please keep up the phenomenal work, and make sure you guys keep this podcast going because it really suits you well. Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
Bills beat the Patriots 35-31. Another check-in here as we get to the play of the game and, of course, our game balls of the game coming up. Want to remind you also that Penguins post-game Penguins and the Mammoth is coming up, and this just in. Justin Brazeau has struck again. It is 4-4 in the third period. Well, I'm going to have a good time dissecting that when we're done here. Speaking of dissecting things, before we get to the play of the game, and of course, I want to mention that we're going to take a look at the playoff picture momentarily. Let's get you all caught up on action still going on in the late window between the teams still in play. Those were the teams playing at 4:25 p.m. Eastern, 3:25 p.m. Central. I even have the CBS app open in case I want to go over that together. All right, here we go. Second quarter of play in these games, and the Packers lead the Broncos 13. The Detroit Lions on top of the Los Angeles Rams to 14. Those games in the second quarter, as well as every other game here. Heading into half, it looks like we have a 10-7 score between the Panthers and the Saints. Panthers on the ball right now, the Carolina Panthers, that is, and the New Orleans Saints. Colts on top of the Seahawks right now, 6-3, with 2 minutes to go before halftime, with about 46 seconds left. 48 seconds left to the exact. The San Francisco 49ers leading the Tennessee Titans 17-10. Hold up, hold up. Indianapolis and Denver are in the red zone. 7. Packers over the Broncos 6-3. Colts over the Seahawks right now. We'll see how it all pans out. All right, player of the game time. But before we get there, play of the game time. Well, this play doesn't come courtesy of scoring, but it did lead. It did lead to a scoring play for Buffalo. Last week it was Christian Benford coming up again with a pick. This week, it's Trey Day. On 3rd and 25, Drake May was intending to find Hollins, not Mac Hollins, just so you know. No, actually, it was Mac Hollins he was trying to find. It was Mac Hollins he was trying to find. Instead, he found Tre'Davious White for what I thought is good enough for my play of the game. Trey Day, Tre'Davious White, his pick, his interception, good enough for my play of the game. It ultimately led to Buffalo taking the lead before the fourth quarter was up. The third quarter, I should say, was up, as Allen found Dawson Knox for a 14-yard pass and a 14-yard touchdown. Prater hit the extra point. From then on, it was 28-24. That was a turning point for me. And then, of course, as we know, Patriots score early, and then the Bills scored, and that would be your game. After the Bills punt and the Patriots punt before Buffalo's punt, and then, of course, the turnover on downs. Incomplete pass from Drake May to former Bills player and former Viking, Stephon Diggs. But the interception from Tre'Davious White, good enough for my play of the game. And with that, Bills postgame rolls on. Now time for Game Balls of the Game, known as our Player of the Game segment. Gonna go ahead and bring up CBS Sports, where we can also see the players from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, the site of the Bills' win. Obviously, they lost at home. 2 players are going to get a game ball of the game, and we're going to start by giving out game balls to the quarterbacks, Drake May and Josh Allen. Josh Allen, 19 of 28 completions, no picks, 3 touchdowns. Drake May, 1 pick, no touchdowns, 14 of 23 completions. Both quarterbacks throwing over 100 yards, 193 for Josh, 100 May. Next up for the game ball, Ramondre Stevenson on the New England Patriots side of things. This guy was untouchable. Seriously. How could the Bills not get to Ramondre Stevenson? 6 carries, 50 yards. His longest carry was a 15-yard run. How about Trayvon Henderson? 65 yards, his longest run. 2 TDs, 14 carries, 38 yards running the ball. Ramondre Stevenson and Trayvon Henderson going to get game balls of the game, along with Drake May on the Buffalo Bills side, along with Josh Allen. Not a very big day on the ground for James Cook. 12 yards, his longest run. But he did eclipse over 107 yards in 22 carry attempts. Josh with 11, 48 yards running. His longest run was a 20-yard run. Ty Johnson also getting in on the fun here. 4 carries, 13 yards. The longest run was 9 yards. But we're going to go to James Cook, Josh Allen, and last but certainly not least, Kale Shakir. 5 catches, 5 targets, 65 yards. His longest catch was a 37-yard catch. And honorable mentions to Tre'Davious White, Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, Ray Davis, and rookie Joshua Palmer. So all those guys on the Patriots and the Bills sides gonna get some honorable mentions. All right, we are just about done here. And you know what is the game between the Mammoth and the Penguins? That show coming up, Penguins post game, right after we are done here. The Penguins force overtime, but are stunned by the Utah Mammoth. 5-4, the Mammoth win in overtime. Hey, didn't we just go to overtime just the other day? Like just yesterday? Yeah, we did. The hero is Dylan Gunther, who wins it for Utah in overtime. All right, let's go take a look at the NFL playoff picture. We'll take a look at the standings when we're not in our shared screen. Playoff picture provided by CBS Sports. Download the app or log on to cbssports.com to look for your favorite team in the league. Are they in the playoffs? Are they playing free football? You name it. Right now, the Buffalo Bills at 10-4 are the number 6 seed, which means they are off to Jacksonville if this stays the same. Jacksonville at 10-4 as well. New England is 11-3. They are still the 2nd seed and right now still leading the charge in the AFC East. But the Denver Broncos currently in play right now. They are 11-2 and they are currently eligible for the first round bye. The Houston Texans are now 9-5. They are in the 7th seed. They would play New England if things stay where they are. The Chargers and the Steelers would battle each other in the AFC if things stay where they are. Steelers having to play Miami on Monday Night Football tomorrow night at 7-6 right now. That is their record. The Chargers 10-4. On the AFC East side of things, teams out of contention right now are the Las Vegas Raiders, Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, New York Jets, and today, just recently, both the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs have been mathematically eliminated officially from playoff contention, which leaves the Miami Dolphins, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Indianapolis Colts still fighting for their playoff lives. Houston, Buffalo are the current wildcard teams, but Buffalo can inch their way in to the number 1 seed of the AFC East and the 2nd seed in the NFL of the AFC. With a win in Cleveland next Sunday, Houston goes to Las Vegas next week to take on the Raiders. So still lots of teams still playing even this week for playoff seeding. Over in the NFC, the teams eliminated from playoff contention. The New York Giants, they are gone. The Arizona Cardinals, they are gone. The New Orleans Saints and Washington Commanders also gone from playoff contention. And the Atlanta Falcons, they may have been victorious in Thursday Night Football's action against the Buccaneers, but they needed some things to go their way to keep their playoff hopes alive. They are eliminated from the playoffs. And the Minnesota Vikings are also eliminated. They are at 5-8, still a little bit better than still fighting for their playoff lives in the NFC are the Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Dallas Cowboys. However, if one of those teams loses, they could be next to be eliminated from the playoff picture. Speaking of the playoff picture, over in the NFC, Los Angeles Rams at 10-3. Are the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed is the 9-3-1 Packers. They would host the 9-4 San Francisco 49ers as we speak with you, who are the 7th seed. The 3rd seed 9-5 Eagles would take on the 10-4 Chicago Bears at the 6th seed, and the 5th and 4th seed, the 10-3 Seahawks and the 7-6 Carolina Panthers. If it were to stay the same there, Carolina would be hosting Seattle in the playoffs. Alrighty, so eliminations are occurring. The question is, who's gonna be next to be eliminated? Who's it gonna be? Still no word on the victory speech. I stand corrected. It's over there on the YouTube channel. Not the YouTube channel, I meant the social channel. Let's see if we can go in to the locker room before we wrap this one up in a pretty little bow. We will be able to. Ladies and gentlemen, in the clutch, the victory speech is up and ready for us to go inside. So let's go inside the Bills locker room, shall we? Let's go inside the locker room and hear what Coach McDermott and company had to say. Reminder in case you missed it, Penguin fans, Penguins postgame coming up right after this show is done. Penguins fell 5-4 to the Utah Mammoth in overtime after yet again blowing another third period lead and yet again looking for their first win in this 5-game homestand. Oh my goodness me. Come on. At least welcome Jari in with open arms on Tuesday and then get a dub against McDavid and the Oilers. Like, seriously. You gotta end this homestand on a high note. This is the third time. No, not the third time. This is like the second time this weekend the game has gone into overtime. And the Penguins have fallen. Against Anaheim, it went into a shootout, but again, went to overtime. Same with Dallas. Went to overtime, went to a shootout. Dallas won. Anaheim went to overtime, went to a shootout. Anaheim wins. We lost in regulation to Montreal. Got stunned by the Sharks 6-5 in overtime last night. And then tonight, get stunned again, this time in overtime. 5-4 your final. We'll talk about that on Penguins postgame. Okay, let's see. Can we get it on here? Yep, there we go. All right, Coach. Now we're going to send things your way, now that we actually have things set up. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Coach McDermott. For all our Bills Mafia out there, here is Coach McDermott, Josh Allen, and the crew after this, in my words, insane come-from-behind victory over the New England Patriots. A Patriots game win that Buffalo absolutely needed. I'm with you, Joe Marino of Locked On Bills. I'm with you. I so want to face New England in the playoffs, knowing that New England would have won the division. They kind of should have, would have, but Buffalo said, not so fast, New England. Here's Sean McDermott and the crew after the game.
Unbelievable job, man. I'm so proud of you. The whole team. Nobody panicked. You stayed the course. The toughness, I told you this before, the toughness of this football team on full display, man. That's Buffalo Bills football, man. Great job. I got game ball real quick here. So this teammate of yours had a baby this week. Not only did he have a baby, but he just broke the Buffalo Bills all-time tight end touchdown record. Go ahead. One game at a time. We keep just staying the course on this journey together.
Same thing. Oh, we stay here. We're not getting high, not getting low. All right. One day at a time. We'll keep stacking. All right. Love y'all.
Same thing. Just like last week and get that win the week before that against the Steelers. Stay here. We're not getting higher, not getting low. One day at a time. And you know what? One day at a time, one game at a time. Buffalo Bills beat the New England Patriots. They halted the New England Patriots from winning the division. The AFC East division is still up for grabs. But for how long? Buffalo stopped New England in their tracks after coming from behind. They were down 21-0, got it to 17 points before the half. At the half, things changed. And next thing you know, we're in Are You on the Edge of Your Seat? We're in Are You on the Edge of Your Seat mode. If you were watching that game, the Bills and the Patriots were on the edge of your seat watching this game. Bills beat the Patriots 35-31, your final. We're coming for that title. New England. All right, one quick final rundown of action still from the current action going on in the NFL. The Broncos at halftime trailing the Packers 16-14. The Lions on top of the Rams 24-17. 17-7 Panthers over the Saints. 23-24, 24-10 49ers over the Titans. 24-10 the 49ers over the Titans. That's in quarter number 3. Also in quarter number 3, 13-6 Colts over the Seahawks. Quarter number 3, Panthers and the Saints, 17-7. And those games I mentioned that were at the half are also now in the third quarter. 24-17 Lions over the Rams. 16-14 Broncos trail the Packers. All right, ladies and gents, Sunday Night Football coming up. Vikings and the Cowboys. No prediction for me today, but if I had to predict Monday Night Football, I'm taking the Steelers to beat Tua and the Dolphins down in the Steel City on Monday Night Football. But I think this is going to be a shootout between Tua and Aaron Rodgers or whoever starts for the Steelers. I think this is going to be a shootout, but I'm taking the Steelers 35-30, 5-point game. Steelers win 30-30 over the Miami Dolphins. Give me the Steelers beating Miami in Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football. All right, enjoy Sunday Night Football. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Before we go, I want to make sure I don't forget about this. Next week, for the Buffalo Bills, it's off to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns at 1 p.m. Eastern. Catch it on CBS, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, 11 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Pacific, I should say. Then, it's the final farewell, 2-game homestand of the old Highmark Stadium, with the new Highmark Stadium opening up in 2026. One more game in 2025 at this here stadium, across the street from the new stadium. That's on Fox. A Sunday from this Sunday, as the Buffalo Bills host the Philadelphia Eagles at 4:25 p.m. kickoff time. What time will our Jets game be at on what looks like Sunday, January the 4th, 2026? It's still up in the air. Meanwhile, for the Patriots, the road ahead to the playoffs and possibly still winning that division, even though they had the opportunity this week and didn't do it. It's an interesting one. They've got their final home game against Miami in Foxborough, Massachusetts, on Sunday, January the 4th. Time to be determined, but first they got to go out on the road to play the Baltimore Ravens next week on Sunday Night Football at 8:20 p.m. Eastern, and then the following Sunday after that, it's the New York Jets, already eliminated from playoff contention, against still fighting for their playoff lives, the New England Patriots. Patriots 11-3. Buffalo 10-4. Buffalo's coming. They're coming for that number 1 seed in the AFC East. We are in for quite the final 3 weeks of the year between the Bills and the Patriots as they battle for the AFC East. If you thought winning the East was going to be easy in the AFC, whether you're a Patriot fan, a Bills fan, a Dolphins fan, a Jets fan, you now know to be the champ of the AFC East, you got to beat the champ. And right now, that is the Buffalo Bills. They've won it 5 years in a row, looking for number 6. Can they get it done? We'll find out in these final 3 weeks of the season. That is it for us on Bills postgame. We'll catch up with you next week after the Bills and the Browns. Look forward to seeing you there. As for our Penguins hockey coverage, Penguins fell in overtime 5-4 to the Mammoth. On that show, we'll break down how it all went down and get you set up for the Penguins and the Oilers, as well as who's coming up next for the Utah Mammoth. But that's it for us for Bills postgame. So until we talk again after Bills versus Browns, my name is Scott McGregor saying, go Bills, buckle up, strap in for a wild ride to the finish. Is this the year Bills Mafia has been waiting for? We got 3 games to find out, and then of course the playoffs. We'll catch up with you after Cleveland and Buffalo duke it out in Cleveland. Go Bills, and we'll see you next week on Bills Postgame. Bills Browns next time on Bills Postgame. For now, play shout, happy Victory Monday. I'll catch up with you on Sunday. Bills Mafia, peace. Thank you so much much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.